Welcome back to Wickerson Studios. I have had a real change of heart, and after polling my Patreons and putting out to the community of people out there in the world, I am fully committed to, as I return to school this term, returning to the GH Python node. And this all stems from my interest in computational design, which began with ordering and buying this book a few months back, probably late September. It's the GH Python notebook out of China. The text is in English. It uses a lot of Rhino script. But in getting into it, I realized very quickly that it wasn't enough to know Rhino script syntax. And I have been down so many rabbit holes when it comes to taking Rhino into Grasshopper into Python, learning how to script within Python, and then use the GH Python node, producing a series of videos, and I'll overview that here. But it did point me into knowing more about Rhino Common. Iron Python was an interesting thing for me to look at, and I moved into C#, and then I started to go into Unity. I started to spiral into all these other areas. I started buying massive books on C# and what I could learn, moved away from the Grasshopper window. But after doing my poll and seeing what people actually want, this was something to inspire me this morning. I was looking into finding a way to take, let's say, select a few nodes and have a quick edit over to, say, hidden lines with the push of a button. And that should have done that. 1 second, let me grab them again. I might have just clicked out. Let's apply that and leave. And I should be willing, maybe I didn't apply that, button to the hidden node, and I should be jumping over to hidden node. So there, I just had to click this one as well. Picking that again, I could jump back in and put that back over the faint or into default and leave it. And with any luck, interesting that it's just a little hesitant. These wires are working remotely. Let me push it through again and just see if I could reset that. There we go. A little jumpy, a little bit, but that's showing me the power of really scripting and writing within the Python node. So going back into here, it was making sense to me. The scripts stay very small, a little more easy and approachable as you go into the editor than C#. You can you're not getting as detailed as they ask and require in C. I'm glad I did it for a couple of weeks, but I'm going to focus back on this GH Python node until I can start scripting, at least to this level. I think I'm up to understanding data trees, and it should be fun. This was one of the reasons I was inspired to do it. There's several other reasons, and I want to share that by jumping into my browser. So as I pull down my browser, there's several things at the top of this screen. I'm going to show you why I'm doing it. First of all, I did much better when I had a GH Python icon on here to teach and show what was happening. And even though I've moved from my Patreon for members and Grasshopper definitions and Rhino script syntax into GH Python nodes, I started to add on to the GH Python node basics, the C# nodes, customizing C# nodes. Well, I think I can do that with the GH Python nodes, and that's where I'm going to do. That's where I'm going to start focusing now. And then my final one are just some members that want to talk to me weekly and have more one-on-one discussions with me. I did start this group a few months back. The private group grew like crazy as in comparison to the C# group, which is around 300 people. And it took later to start. But this is one that I really found a fast following at 2,600 people, and that's reflected in the. I've had to max out and make a page for Wickerson Studios because there's so many people interested in scripting in GH Python script. I did start with a lot of repositories that I've made private that offered up tons of scripts and also nodes that could be used out of the Python. And I started moving into C, as you can see here, but I think I am going to return basically back to where I was with the GH Python node. Development-wise, I was learning as much as I can. I'll probably start and go back into the webinar systems from Mode Labs, which teach so much. I did so much coursework as well, and this is a wonderful cheat sheet for Rhino script syntax that's actually hyperlinked that you can go over and get to the Rhino development site and find out what's going on. ATLV is one of the best because it shows not only the GH Python basics and, let's say, inputs, but it also has a lot of scripts in here that move beyond Rhino script syntax and start to import Rhino common namespaces. So you'll begin with Rhino geometry in a lot of these as you have to start importing. And these are the scripts we'll stay focused on in generating some interesting geometries. Rhino produced this in the time I switched over to C#. Nilüfer Zaker, and I've actually advanced a lot of these into intermediate kind of applications on a list within my GitHub, which is interesting to look at. And that course is really where people want to start. Go in here and take this course. My courses won't be similar to these basics, but a really nice outline of what's happening. And there's some more advanced Python courses if you're interested at Rhino 3D.education. This fellow, Jeremy Graham, has taught me so much and moved me so far past even scripting in Python, but into C# nodes and into Revit, something that it's still fairly new to me, kind of the front end of that. And I should give credit to Junichiro Horikawa that got me thinking Unity and plugins for Unity, which was very exciting. To script on two fronts. I did a lot of courses. Michigan has a great class that comes out to get you Rhino script editor in the Rhino window, so you're not actually using the GH-Python, but then you still have to find a way to convert a lot of those scripts over to GH-Python nodes, which I'm willing to do. And this was the site that really kind of blew up, and I produced this video. It's been my most hit video, well over 1,300 hits, and it was summarizing why I started thinking of the GH-Python script nodes. So that's available for you to look at as well. Let me scoot over here a little bit, see what else I have. This is the book itself that I asked for, and it's amazing in a sense of why I wanted to get that book. It is in Chinese, but it was amazing to see that all the script in there is very manageable to shift over, and you end up with some incredible patterns and geometries and algorithms that generate some really wonderful scripts, some geometries for you. Michigan, again, what I did was I produced tons of videos. So if I look at my playlists, I've spent an awful lot of time moving from my initial stages of learning Rhino, the ABCs 1, 2, 3s of that, and started with Tinkercad code blocks. I did well over 1,000, Grasshopper definitions and scripts in many, many forums, which are available on videos to watch. I also went in and started the GH-Python project probably 3-4 months ago, and then that ran into Rhino for Grasshopper workshop at my school, which I felt I had to do on Sundays. The Python, I think I got it there. The Patron Wickerson Studios membership site started to form, and that was tied to GH-Python nodes, and then Patreon back to the basics GH-Python node was something that really took off with 22 videos, and I started to move RhinoScript in the GH-Python's nodes a few weeks back, and I realized I had to really know more about Python than was coming out of RhinoScript syntax. And I've said that a few times. So I went hard into C scripting for Grasshopper. I got a little I deviated a bit into Unity. I came back into computational design, and I watched my numbers kind of fluctuate. They were going down. My hours of watching were not so as much as well. And I've been talking to people, and here's a nice video of Daniel Kristev, really incredible developer that taught me a lot in Grasshopper. But I think it's time to step back in 100% to where I was maybe initially, which was this promise to move into GH-Python nodes. So we literally are going to start with new documents. I've got a nice little plug here that I'll be putting in that you can basically go in and see all my Patreon, my YouTube, my GitHub, my Facebook's personal GH-Python nodes. You can pick whichever one you want. As soon as you set it to true, a little video is going to pop up here, and you can go in and take a look at what you might want to see. I just have to move this one over a bit. So if it's a YouTube series, then you can just jump in there and it'll open up a link directly to that. So hopefully I can call in some more people that are interested in GH-Python nodes. We're going to start hard and fast with that. I'm going to turn that to false to get rid of it. All of our scripts will start from the beginning, and I'm going to hit hard and fast into the GH-Python node, which is the basis of this series and why I originally started, and I will be drawing from all those resources I just talked about. So hopefully you're with me as we enter 2021 and see where this can lead to new geometries and new wonderful algorithms and creative designs that you might use. Thanks very much for watching. 10 minutes in, I hope you find this a good direction for me to return to and go deeper into with more knowledge of Rhino Common. Thanks for watching.